Do you know, sometimes look, Ruth made a very good point. Sometimes you think, how has it got to this stage in the first place? And then the fact that it has got to that stage, you think, why does it all go so acrimonious between two people who once upon a time loved each other? So that's what
money.
Yeah,
money a lot of the time.
when money comes into it. So look, we're going to start with a lady called Caroline. And Caroline, that's not your real name, and we're going to slightly change your voice a wee bit to protect you here with your query, and that is, what is your concern for experts?
Basically, going through a divorce, completed Form E, which we've exchanged. He is being very vague on his Form E, and I think he's hiding his assets. He's not providing any evidence, bank statements, income details. He's self-employed. He's now saying he's not working. And basically, where do I go from now?
And
we
also,
have a court date. And I don't know, that's coming up in April. But I don't know how I go forward with regards to, because he's not being honest about what assets he does have.
you hear this a lot, actually, Vanessa,
We do
don't you?
hear this. Now, just to explain, a Form E is a document of disclosure. It's a big form that both sides have to fill in and exchange. Sometimes you can do it on a voluntary basis between solicitors, but quite often it's done by court order, telling you the date you have to file all of it. And he is supposed to exhibit his bank statements and any of the documents required by the form. Now, if he's not doing it, and there's a court order that says he should do it anyway, your solicitors, have you got a solicitor at the moment?
No, I can't afford to pay for solicitors,
Right.
so I'm doing it on my own.
What you need to be doing, you need to immediately write and say that the court order provides that you should supply all these documents to be attached to your Form E. It's not been properly filled in. I want this information before the court hearing, because if I go to court and it's not abortive, then I will look to you for any of the expenses that I've had of this cost, because you haven't done it properly.
Can she get legal aid?
No, you can't get legal aid anymore for divorce cases. Sometimes if there's been domestic violence.
There has here.
Right,
So
but I think you should speak to the legal aid authorities, it's called legal funding, and see if you would be eligible for it. But I would make an appointment to see a solicitor that does legal aid or legal funding, to ask them to phone the authorities and sort it all out. But you need to be pursuing this, because he's getting away with it because you haven't got a lawyer, all right? He's under a duty to supply this. If he still won't do it, when you go to court for the first hearing, if you still haven't got a lawyer, you say to the court you'd like an order with what they call a penal notice to force him to supply those documents.
Can you force... Caroline points out, Deirdre, that, as you say, there's domestic violence involved. There's also children involved. My eldest child does not want to see him. Would that child be forced to see him if the dad wants
Has
that?
been, right. No, I really want to emphasise this. If there has been abusive behaviour in a marriage, no, you know, all this idea about, you know, children should always see both parents, not necessarily. You know, it can be very bad and damaging for children to see an abusive parent. I gather your oldest one saw some of this. No, he or she won't have to be forced to see their father. You could try, I mean, you know, you could try going to mediation first and see if you can get him to accept the situation, because I know he's trying to see all the children. If he won't, at the end of the day, you know, the family court will back you up. But please get, like, a diary, get everything written down, because courts need evidence. You can't just go along and say, oh, he wasn't, you know, he was violent. You really need to have as much detail as possible, don't you, Vanessa?
Yeah, and taking up what you've said, if you can demonstrate clearly to the court that he has been violent and that is not in the best interest of the child to have a relationship, but the courts these days do try and force the children to have a relationship with both parents. So there's been a slight change in it. So he may get some orders, but you need perhaps some independent evidence that it's going to have an adverse effect on the child, as Deidre said.
See, Caroline, we say goodbye to you.